So Darwin traveled all over the globe, but he is perhaps most famous for his work with the Galapagos finches in the Galapagos Islands. Okay, and while he was there, Darwin collected thousands of species and observed lots of adaptations in organisms. He was certainly intrigued by the distribution on the islands and the fact that there were species on the islands that were similar to those on the mainland of South America, but not exactly the same. So he made two main points in his Origin of Species. One of the most important ones is the fact that he said that all of the species that are inhabiting the Earth today actually descended from ancestors. Okay, and that natural selection was the mechanism that was responsible for the fact that there was descent with modification, meaning that populations of organisms changed over time. They were modified as they descended from ancestors to present-day species. And here's an example of what we call a phylogeny, which is following different species through evolutionary time. At the bottom, you see more time in the past, up to 34 million years ago. And then as we go up to the top, we go to the present. And as you can see, there are 3 present-day species of elephants, 2 African elephant species and 1 Asian elephant species. And that you can also see woolly mammoths on here about 2 million years ago. So there were ancestral species that lived long before our present-day species of elephants have, and that these guys shared common ancestors from millions of years ago. And so they were modified, they changed in terms of their overall shape and size and morphology, internal, external anatomy, brain size, all of those things changed over evolutionary time. Darwin is certainly known for the study of finches, and we're going to talk more in class about the study of finches on the Galapagos Islands. So there are some key observations that the theory of natural selection is based on, and that's what I want to spend a little bit of time talking about now. One of the important observations is the fact that all species tend to over-reproduce. That is, they have many more offspring, a lot more babies than can ever survive, okay? And so all species tend to produce these excessive numbers. And because not all of them are going to survive, the question becomes, who lives and who doesn't? Another important observation is the fact that amongst the individuals in a population, and if you don't remember exactly what a population is, I want you to pause the video and look it up, okay? So when we talk about variation among individuals within a population, we're saying that not every individual looks the same. They vary. Just think about all the students in a classroom. Many people have differences in size and shape and hair color and eye color and skin color and different kinds of attributes. Okay? Some of that variation that you see amongst, whether you're talking about individuals in a human population or whether you're talking about, say, these beetles here. So some of that variation that we see, the differences in wing color, the differences in the spots and the yellow patterns, at least some of it has to be what we call heritable, meaning the fact that it's due to genetic differences among individuals. Okay, so what can we infer from this? Well, the idea of natural selection, and remember we said there's over-reproduction? Well, some individuals are going to survive and reproduce and others won't. This is what we mean by natural selection. Organisms interact with their environment, and it's the environment that determines which individuals are going to make it. What are the individuals that have the right kinds of attributes that will allow them to survive, okay, that will allow them to give rise or give birth to offspring, okay? And that's the process of selection. So those individuals that have the traits that are best suited for the local environment are going to be the ones that survive. They're going to be the ones that are able to grow, become mature, and be able to leave offspring. And all of this leads to this bottom point here, which I've highlighted in red. All of this leads to changes in the genetic makeup of a population over the generations, over time. This last point here, this is the very definition of evolution. Genetic changes in populations over time.